love to eat. Enjoying food is a universal pleasure. But the story behind our food isn't always pretty. I'm Nelifar Hidayat, and I'm going on a global journey to explore how our appetites shape our world and discover the hidden truths behind the food we eat. Nearly every meal we eat relies on seeds, from bread and rice to coffee, and even cattle feed. But with a predicted 10 billion mouths to feed by 2050, how we grow these crops has become farming's biggest challenge. Can traditional farming methods feed the planet?
Production of our food has never had the challenge that it has now.
Or will genetic modification make famine a thing of the past?
We shall become rich all.
Are these modern farming techniques poisoning the communities that grow them?
Acá en el pueblo hay muchísima gente enferma.
Who is really in control of producing our food?
We are dealing with a monster that has tentacles that include the politicians, the scientists on their payrolls.
I'm in Svalbard, Norway.
This might seem like the last place on Earth to start a journey about seeds. You know, they need soil and decent temperatures to grow, and this is a wilderness. But here I am, at the top of the world, not too far from the North Pole. I've come here to start my journey.
The Arctic is the world's natural deep freeze.
Come on, exactly.
Marie Haga is the executive director of the Crop Trust that's built this global seed vault.
Wow, here we go.
Here we go. Welcome in.
Okay.
Her mission is to protect plant diversity by collecting a sample of every useful seed in the world and storing it here. 120 meters inside this frozen mountain, there's over 930,000 different types of seeds. Stored at minus 18 degrees Celsius, at this temperature, some could survive for thousands of years.
Philippines, Canada, Syria. It's amazing to think that if catastrophe hits, like there's an earthquake or an asteroid hits, in one of these little sachets could be the beginnings of our reset button.
You know, there are small and big catastrophes going on every day around the world. And, you know, we have lost complete crop collections in Afghanistan, your original country. And that's why we have this place. The idea is that we can come here and retrieve it and start afresh. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be because of a nuclear bomb. In this world, we actually have 120,000 varieties of rice. But
Why do you need so many of the same seed?
this diversity is really the building blocks of agriculture.
Throughout history, farmers have used natural diversity to breed stronger crops that produce more. But today, farmers are bypassing natural diversity in favour of genetically modified supercrops created in laboratories.
I would say we are close to a perfect storm. Because if a disease strikes when you use little diversity, then you can wipe out everything. The production of our food has never, ever had the challenge that it has now. That's the fundamental problem, you know, now that we need to feed another 2-3 billion people in the next 25 years.
When it comes to the very building blocks of life, things like water, seeds,
We just take it for granted. It's always there, and so we think it's always going to be there. What Marie said was, it's all about diversity. 90% of crops in the US have just disappeared in the last 100 years because people stopped farming them. The point is that once they're gone, they're gone. I'm leaving the frozen Arctic and the world's precious store of seeds and heading to America. Up to 90% of mass-produced crops in the US are genetically modified. They're known as GMOs. Scientists have engineered them by adding new genes that help them resist pests or increase harvests. In 1996, agrochemical giant Monsanto launched Roundup Ready soybeans. They were hailed as a farming revolution. This crop is sprayed with a weed killer known as Roundup. The active ingredient, glyphosate, kills everything it touches except the crop, allowing it to grow unhindered. But there's a strong anti-GMO movement protesting against their widespread use. Actor and activist Jordana Brewster is at the forefront of that fight.
How are you?
I'm really good. I try to stay away from GMOs because we don't really know what the long-term effects are. I want to know what the heck's in my food and what the heck I'm putting in my baby's body, because I think that's a pretty basic right.
GMOs are found in many of America's favorite foods, from breakfast cereals to baby food and even chocolate.
America isn't afraid of GM. There's no conclusive evidence that GM is bad for you.
If there's nothing to hide, what are the practices that are going into genetically modified food? Like, what exactly are you spraying the plants with? So I think we have to wake up and make the public aware.
Jordana's a movie star, but she has a lot of the same concerns that most people do. What's the modern way that food is produced? And can we trust it?
While some worry GMOs threaten diversity, others fear they're not safe to eat, despite scientific evidence to the contrary. But it's the safety of the Roundup herbicide required to grow GMOs that attracts the greatest controversy. Reports of serious illnesses in farming communities continue to make headline news, particularly in Argentina, the world's third largest producer of GMO crops. Argentina was once the world's prime producer of grass-fed beef, but today, that way of life has all but disappeared. Following a catastrophic economic collapse in 1998, Argentina replaced its cow pastures and over 70% of its virgin forests with Monsanto's Roundup Ready GMO soy. The government taxed soy exports at 35%, which almost single-handedly saved the economy. Today, Argentina is the third largest producer of GMO soy, producing 56 million tons a year and exporting globally, including to the US, Europe, and even China. Ruben's a farmer whose life has been transformed by the GMO soy revolution.
How long have you been a farmer then?
Toda la vida, o sea.
Ruben's farm is in the middle of Santa Fe, one of a number of provinces that now almost exclusively farm soy.
There you go. That's a soya.
Only about 2% of these soybeans will end up as edamame or veggie burgers. Argentina is one of the world's largest exporters of animal feed.
A lot of people are scared of genetically modified crops.
Yo creo que es falta de conocimiento eso, ¿no? Me ha beneficiado a mí y ha beneficiado a toda Argentina.
Sí, claro.
Yo nací en la tierra, pero el negocio del campo tiene que dar económicamente bien. Y yo por ante todas las cosas tengo que velar por el bienestar de mi familia.
Sí.
La tecnología me va a ayudar a producir mejor, a producir más rentable, probablemente la voy a tomar.
Farming GMO soy is easier and cheaper for farmers like Ruben. He plants the seeds, sprays the crops several times with Monsanto's Roundup, and waits for harvest. The glyphosate in the weed killer does all the work, reducing the number of farm hands needed to work the land and tend the crops. But over the last 15 years, local farming communities have been getting sick. Many blame the herbicide sprayed on the GMO soy. Even though a government inquiry was launched 8 years ago, it was inconclusive. So instead, doctors have taken it upon themselves to investigate.
We've come to Sastre to meet some medical students out of Rosario University, and they're collecting data and talking to people. So I really want to go out with them and figure out what's going on.
Over 150 doctors and students have descended on Sastre, a small farming town in the province of Santa Fe.
There are engineers here, biologists, medical students, and they've all been invited by the people of Sastre because they think they have a problem.
A partir de la página 5 cambió la organización de las preguntas.
Lucia is one of the doctors supervising the medical students.
Si alguno de los integrantes de la casa tuvo algún tipo de tumor o cáncer en los últimos 15 años,
They'll spend a week going door to door, asking the people about their medical conditions and what they think could be causing them.
So you'd come together to do a health survey on herbicides.
we don't do the survey about herbicides. We do it to see what's going on with the people's health.
En los últimos 20 años, ¿perdiste algún embarazo?
Sí.
¿En qué mes? ¿Cuántos meses tenías?
Principio.
Principio
De embarazo.
Primer trimestre. Bien, una sola pérdida. ¿Tuviste?
Y vos, yo en 2015.
2015.
¿En qué trimestre te acordás?
4 meses.
4 meses.
¿Alguno de los integrantes tuvo algún tipo de tumor o cáncer en los últimos 15 años?
Sandra falleció en marzo del año pasado. Era la ex mujer de mi hermano.
Y era joven.
Con 37 años.
A su criterio, ¿existe algún problema de salud en la ciudad?
Lo que sí por ahí vemos, la fumigación.
La fumigación.
Y eso por ahí lo que puede traer a lo mejor problemas de salud.
Ajá.
Por ahí que nos fumigan cerca y se siente. Pasan muy abajo. O sea, vos
¿Entre
bien
la gente de acá?
Sí, pasan. Sí, sí.
Desde
Sí.
As the students speak to more residents, they find a range of different health problems.
What's that? A 7-year-old with hypothyroidism.
In particular, they're finding illnesses affecting the thyroid gland that regulates the body's metabolism.
Juan's teammate was doing the house next door, and it turns out 3 members of the family suffer from hypothyroidism. And that's just something that keeps cropping up everywhere we go. But Javier was just saying that a 5-year-old suffering from it, they don't even teach hypothyroidism in pediatric and child cases.
¿Alguno de los integrantes de la casa tiene algún problema de salud?
Mi señora tiene tiroides.
Ajá. ¿Alguno de los integrantes tuvo algún tipo de tumor o cáncer en los últimos 15 años?
Sí.
¿Y cáncer de qué tuvo?
Sentí cáncer esófago.
De esófago.
Recién lo enterré.
Ah, recién vinimos a Perú.
Ah, claro.
2 de cáncer hoy. La semana pasada. Gente de cáncer muere acá.
¿Mucha gente?
Es un tema atlético nosotros.
¿Por los agroquímicos?
Javier, a doctor supervising the students, tells me the university has already surveyed 29 towns across 4 provinces. But they're worried this could be their last survey.
What do you think makes this so political?
When you touch the interest of the powerful, they will resist. They will cut the money. We are fighting greedy people.
Santa Fe's Minister of Health has publicly denounced the results of the survey in the press. And Monsanto denies glyphosate is a danger to health and accuses anti-agriculture organizations of generating unwarranted fear and confusion. But Javier is determined to give a voice to these concerned farming communities.
If everyone knows about what we do, it's more difficult to anyone to stop us.
I'm in the town of Sastre in Argentina with a group of medical students. They're investigating illnesses that locals believe are related to herbicides sprayed on the genetically modified soy grown in the surrounding fields.
So I've been told about a family, and I think it's the daughter in the family. She's got Hodgkin's lymphoma.
It's a rare type of cancer that attacks the body's lymphatic system, which filters toxins from the body. In Argentina, there are only 3 cases per 200,000. So far, the students have identified 7 cases here in Sastre, which is a population of just 5,500.
So, do you remember getting sick? What was happening to your body? What were you feeling?
Cuando fui al médico, que él me empezó a tocar, digamos así, y me encontré que tenía acá.
Yeah.
Y después me dieron el resultado de que tenía el linfoma.
What was your reaction?
Llorar.
Were you with your mum? Were you together?
Sí, los 3 estábamos con el papá. Y fue muy feo, muy feo.
I can't imagine. You can take a minute. It's okay. Oh yeah, there you are. You're very cute, the two of you.
Tenía el pelo larguísimo. Sí, los meses que le siguieron fueron muy feos, los meses de quimio, le afectaron muy mucho. Y fueron meses en que estaba tirada, que no hablaba, no comía.
Yo a mí no... Es... No sé cómo explicarlo, pero... Es feo y... No sé.
Okay. Just tell me a little bit about the health problems in the family.
Bueno, yo tengo mi marido que tiene problemas cardíacos. Y ahora supone que puede haberse intoxicado con agroquímicos y le produjo una pancreatitis.
Sol's father worked in the fields for many years, spraying the herbicides required to grow the GMO soy.
Pero ahora últimamente es mucha gente enferma, de todo de cáncer, chicos malformados. En el pueblo hay muchísima gente enferma. Pero todos sospechamos que es todo lo mismo, los agroquímicos.
Are you doing anything about it as a town?
La municipalidad le prohibió ahora le puso un cierto límite de kilómetros para fumigar afuera del pueblo, que no lo respetan, por supuesto, que lo hacen de noche. Cuando nadie ve, entonces salen a fumigar de noche. El que se puede proteger se protege y el que no.
I don't know what to say. They're in the midst of something no mother should have to see her daughter go through. Anyone who wants to talk to me about that this is not scientifically provable or accurate should come and talk to these people, should come and look at them, should come and try and actually find out.
I want to learn more about the herbicides required to grow the genetically modified soy. I flagged down Tito, a crop sprayer who's hired by local farmers. He's been spraying these soy fields with Monsanto's Roundup for over 20 years.
Serían muchas malezas que están muy resistentes al Roundup. Bueno, le podemos tirar 10 litros de glifosato que no lo vamos a quemar. Porque es resistente al glifosato. Por eso ya ahora están usando productos nuevos. El 2,4-D viene a ser para la hoja ancha. Y el paraquat, eso lo que toca, mata, pero mata aéreo.
20 years ago, the fields surrounding Sastre were full of cattle and pampas grass. Very few agrochemicals were being sprayed here. So effectively, Argentina was a testing ground for the GMO revolution.
Yo no estoy en contra de los líquidos, pero hay líquido que a tal persona le va a hacer mal. Estoy arriba de la máquina, a mí hay un producto que me hace mal.
Sí. Which one affects you badly?
Realmente todavía no lo encontramos porque en la campaña se usa tanto líquido.
In 2013, Monsanto applied to double the quantities of glyphosate legally permitted for use to combat growing weed resistance. The US Environmental Protection Agency agreed, stating, "There's reasonable certainty that no harm will result from dietary exposure to glyphosate." This finding did not include occupational exposure. Monsanto is now developing new GMOs that are resistant to other herbicides as well as glyphosate.
It's a cocktail of herbicides. It's not just one. And if people who want to protect the local communities get too stuck and caught up in one brand or type, then they're missing out on a whole host of things that could be being sprayed out there and no one really knows about it.
In Sastre, I'm joining Sol and Nilda and other town residents to hear the results of the medical survey.
El cáncer es la segunda causa de mortalidad en la localidad de Sastre en los últimos 15 años. El hipotiroidismo es causa de la segunda patología crónica más frecuente.
The survey shows that Sastre has cases of cancer and hypothyroidism well above the national average.
Sol? Sol?
I think she's just fainted. Halfway through the presentation, she just turned to me and just kind of shook her head. Sol's taken to hospital. She's still weak after her battle with cancer, although thankfully she's now on the road to recovery. Tomorrow I'm heading to Rosario to meet with the doctor running this research. I want to know if the cancer cluster in Sastre is just an anomaly or if it's consistent with findings in other farming towns. I've been on a journey from the frozen North Pole to the soy fields of Argentina. With the global population estimated to hit 10 billion by 2050, arguments are raging about how to grow enough food. The Roundup Ready GMO model promises better harvests and lower production costs. But in the town of Sastre, I've met people such as Sol who believe that the herbicides used to grow these crops could be causing serious health problems.
So Sol's messaged. The doctor told me that it was a common fainting. Thank you very much for everything. I loved meeting you. Greetings and kisses.
I've come to Rosario University, where doctors were asked to survey 29 towns across 4 provinces by residents concerned that agrochemicals were making them ill. Since 2010, they've interviewed over 100,000 people. Dr. Damian Versignasi is leading the research.
Tienes linfoma, que finalmente llegan aquí porque eran una cosa rara. Y ya no es más una cosa rara o extraña, ahora es parte de lo habitual.
Wow.
Damian's research is the most in-depth health survey that's been done on these farming communities.
En los últimos 20 años se aumentó un 848% el uso de venenos en estos territorios. Y en esos años empezaron a aparecer estos problemas de salud.
Are you saying then that there's a direct connection between the agrochemicals being used in the fields and the illnesses you're seeing in town?
El 50% de los diagnósticos de cánceres y leucemias y linfomas que la gente nos ha referido durante los últimos 15 años se diagnosticaron en los últimos 5. Nosotros encontramos que mientras que la incidencia en Argentina en el 2008 era de 206 cada 100.000, nosotros estamos en 396 cada 100.000 en el promedio de nuestros campamentos. Hay claramente un crecimiento.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Si te fijas, esta es el área donde se produce con agrotóxicos, todo lo que es transgénicos.
Oh my goodness.
Y acá tenés el área esta que es donde hay más de 5 litros por hectárea, es el área donde se concentran los campamentos sanitarios. Esto podría explicar por qué nosotros acá tenemos más casos de cáncer que en el total del país.
Damian has concluded that exposure to agrochemicals, including glyphosate, required to grow GMOs, is the most likely cause for the illnesses he's documented in these farming communities. Glyphosate was reclassified by the World Health Organization as a probable carcinogen in 2015. On appeal by Monsanto, the WHO revised the classification as unlikely to pose a carcinogenic risk to humans from exposure through the diet. However, the WHO stands by their ruling on the risk from environmental contamination. As a result, a number of lawsuits have been launched against Monsanto.
Yo fui convocado el año pasado por el Tribunal Internacional Monsanto, que se constituyó en La Haya, para juzgar a Monsanto por el crimen de ecocidio como testigo, en función del trabajo que habíamos hecho.
The International Monsanto Tribunal at The Hague ruled Monsanto had engaged in practices that have negatively impacted the right to a healthy environment, and that Monsanto manipulated science to hide the negative health impacts of glyphosate. The conclusions are advisory, and so far no official charges have been brought against Monsanto. When we put these claims to Monsanto, they stated that no regulatory authority in the world has concluded glyphosate is a carcinogen. Regulators around the world continue to support the safe use of glyphosate.
Why does Argentina allow this to continue on its soil if this stuff is so harmful?
La respuesta es sencilla, Moni. El problema es que el actual ministro de Agricultura de la provincia de Buenos Aires fue uno de los principales referentes de Monsanto. Es lo que se llama la puerta giratoria. Entran al Estado, vienen de las empresas, salen del Estado y van a las empresas.
On his return from The Hague, Damian says he was barred from his office and denied access to his research. After protests from global academics, he's been allowed to continue. But the Ministry of Health for Santa Fe denounced his findings as hasty and questioned his methodology. Despite repeated requests, the Minister of Health refused to speak with us. Instead, we're offered an interview with Dr. Gabriela Quintanilla, head of the province's Cancer Prevention Agency. The agency is just 2 weeks old.
I want to know what you are doing to prevent cancers.
There are a lot of infrequent cancers that can be related with contamination. For instance, thyroid cancer, lymphoma, leukemia, see?
Would you be then in favour of proposing a change in policy to upgrade certain agrochemicals? For example, the glyphosate. Would you support such an activity?
Yes.
You would?
Nuestro posicionamiento es, ante la duda, recomendamos no usarlo.
I put to you that the government of Argentina has been hungry for the economic development and starving the people of their right to health.
Debemos encontrar el modo de instalar el control estatal fuerte sin violentar los modos de reproducción económica de la comunidad.
Do you think that the agro-businesses like Monsanto have been irresponsible in Argentina?
Si esta empresa u otras son capaces de comercializar un producto y esconder sus toxicidades, eso es criminalidad.
I'm shocked that Gabriela, a government official, admits that certain cancers, including the cancer Sol has, could be related to agrochemical contamination. 20 years ago, Argentina decided to embrace GMOs in a bid to rescue its crumbling economy. But right now in Africa, countries are debating whether GMOs are the solution to saving their people from famine. The GMOs they're being offered don't require herbicides. They're engineered to resist drought and pests, problems that could mean the difference between life or death. But are GMOs really the only solution to famine in Africa? I'm going to Uganda to find out.
Is in the middle of making the most important decision of its population for generations to come.
I'm flying halfway around the world to Uganda on the equator. Crop failure and food shortages plague this East African country. According to their website, Monsanto has genetically modified maize seeds to address Uganda's greatest problems, drought and pests. Unlike the GMOs in Argentina, these seeds aren't Roundup ready. Instead, they've had genes added that help them grow with less water and resist insects.
There's an NGO Monsanto are working with, and together they're on this project called WEMA, Water Efficient Maize for Africa. The 300 million people affected by drought can be helped if these GM seeds can get to them. It could genuinely transform the lives of so many people. It's just very hard to read all of this and reconcile what I've seen in Argentina so far.
The GMO maize seeds are being grown at a high-security compound in Kasese in western Uganda. WEMA is a government-endorsed project funded by NGOs, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and USAID. Maize is the country's staple crop, eaten by the whole population, as well as used to feed livestock. Dr. Michael Otim is the scientist leading the experiments.
These trials are really valuable because drought affects the entire country and we can lose over 80% in extreme cases of our
80%?
80%.
My goodness.
In extreme cases, Monsanto has given this technology royalty-free.
Royalty-free, meaning that Monsanto don't make any money from this?
Monsanto will not make any money from this.
The patent for the WEMA trial has been given for 10 years. But if Uganda legalizes GMOs, Monsanto and other companies will be free to capitalize on this new market with other GMO products, including the Roundup Ready varieties grown in Argentina.
In Argentina, I personally have met people who have cancer, who have thyroid problems, because the weeds are now resistant to the herbicide that was used. They're using a mess of ingredients, a mess of herbicides.
The case of resistance of weeds to that, not a single technology will work in perpetuity. You need to have a strategy. If you have this technology remaining effective for up to 10 years, you derive lots more benefits than saying, no, we can't take up this maize because we are likely to have resistance in future.
But I just wonder if opening the floodgates to GMO means that you are making money and yield a priority.
What do you see as a problem in a farmer earning money and using that money to buy food that is required for home or taking care of the basic needs?
You got me there. No.
Dr. Otim has been growing indigenous maize varieties alongside the GMO seeds as a comparison.
So this is one of the plants that's both drought resistant and resistant to the bug that they're really worried about. Under the same conditions, this was grown, but it had neither of those two. If you're a farmer, which one do you want to see?
WEMA employs farmers like Winnie from surrounding villages to grow and harvest the GM crops.
Do you feel strongly about what you are doing here?
Yes, because it will change the way of agriculture in Kasese. What we have learned, we have to give it to the public outside so as everybody can benefit.
Most farming in Uganda is done on a small scale by subsistence farmers like Winnie. She's invited me back to her home on her day off.
Here we are. Thank you.
This is Winnie, and these are the neighbors.
Hello, neighbors. So this is your store?
Yes, madam.
This is literally half of your year's wages in this room. Right.
Are you seeing this insect? It is the one affecting you now. They are the ones, they are eating them up now.
So this is what the drought protection would achieve for you?
Yes.
less like this and more healthy ones. So every single cob matters because every single cob is money for your food, money for your children.
Rent, food, school fees.
Winnie's livelihood is dependent on everything she grows on this 2-acre plot.
So, if the government approves the Wema GM seed, will you change your maize here?
Of course, because for us we are after development. And Uganda's backbone is agriculture. We shall become rich all. Because if it is a drought resistant, then Kasese will be shining.
So what happened the last time there was a drought?
Yeah.
How did it affect you?
Famine.
Really? Famine?
Yes, we had no food. We had no enough food. And now I'm pushing life alone. Have been a mother. I lost a husband. Because I need to make the life for these guys at least better. They should not suffer the way I'm suffering.
Are you suffering, Winnie?
Yes. Let what I missed should be benefited by my kids. Let my kids also achieve something. Yeah.
Winnie rents a one-room house in a nearby village. She keeps a mattress for when her 2 girls come home from boarding school.
So what are we cooking for dinner?
Boil matoke. I spice it?
Yes, please.
You only don't want meat?
No meat. I feel like I made a friend in Uganda.
You have already made a friend. I've also made a friend from Afghanistan. Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Oh, Winnie. So do you think that people are suspicious of Wema?
Ignorance. But when it is confirmed and it reaches everybody, people will like it.
For farmers like Winnie, a GMO crop that can withstand drought and pests could be the silver bullet to propel her out of poverty. But before it reaches the fields, it needs to be approved by Parliament. It's currently illegal to commercially farm with GMOs in Uganda. So all the GMO maize that Winnie has tended over the last few months at Wema must be destroyed.
All the data you've collected and all the hard work that you've done. Ultimately, it lands in the hands of people who possibly don't have your impartiality.
I think as scientists we have a very big role to play to convince them to advocate this so that the communities can benefit from them.
I left Argentina thinking GMO technology brings out the worst in humanity. Greed, profits before people. And now in Uganda, it's a whole different ball game altogether. Getting half the yield from your crop might as well go up in smoke. So all of this lies in the hands of politicians.
In Uganda's capital, Kampala, a political storm is raging over whether to approve a biosafety law that will legalise the use of GMO seeds. Barbara Ntimberweki is a lawyer helping to advise the government on the bill. She wants to protect farmers like Winnie from exploitation by multinational companies.
What is it in the law currently that you object to?
Whoever brings in a GMO should be strictly held liable in case anything goes wrong with it.
Why would private agrochemical businesses be giving this technology for free?
I don't think there's anything for free. I think after some time, the royalty-free business will disappear and you have to keep purchasing every planting season. And that's where we have a problem.
What's the worst thing that this bill can allow to happen?
I think it will give a permitting system for multinational companies to come and take authority over our seed systems. It will take control over our lives.
Maybe genetically modified food can feed Uganda, but for how long and at what cost? If you can say this seed is going to transform your land, your life, make you more prosperous, people want to believe that. People want to believe that. Barbara is taking part in a live television debate about GMOs.
They've invited scientists, they've invited civil society, and students studying biotechnology.
Many who are attending aren't convinced GMOs are the answer to Uganda's drought problems and that there are other obvious solutions.
Just by tapping into water and fertilizers alone, we can increase our yields using the locally available varieties by even 400%. Have we tapped that and failed so that now it is GMO?
Inside the auditorium, academics, scientists, politicians and students are split in their opinions as to what's best for the country.
All we have done is use what happens in nature to move a gene where it is required.
It is so deceptive and it is made with a sinister motive.
I have to tell you the truth because you cannot get excited when someone is misrepresenting the public.
The scholars has let us, the farmers, down. Because of poverty, you have to accept GMOs.
The government has debated the biosafety law for 2 years, but GMOs are already being grown in Uganda, illegally brought in from South Africa, Tanzania and Kenya. 6 months after filming, the bill was passed. GMOs can now be grown legally in Uganda.
I speak as a lawyer. If these GMOs do not work out in Uganda, what is our fallback position as Uganda?
Uganda's decision isn't as simple as GMOs or famine. By investing in irrigation and infrastructure, millions of farmers would profit. However, GMOs could lift Uganda out of a subsistence farming culture into a profit-making agricultural economy.
There are bits of GM that I think could do good. I believe that.
It comes at a cost, like the loss of natural diversity. But the greatest price could be paid by the communities in daily contact with herbicides. What risks are they running with their health?
The fact that as human beings we can move and change the genetic makeup of the food we eat. It could be used for good and bad. It's the people that decide what to do with it.
Do we trust our politicians and multinational companies to use it for the benefit of mankind and not solely for profit?